Hey everybody, Manny Talaberry here. We're now on day 10 of the seven-figure climb. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue right where I left off yesterday and talking about building that $1 million mindset. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a few stories. And I've tried this a couple of times. I think I was going a little long, so we're gonna shorten this a little bit. And we will probably talk about some more parts of this tomorrow. And so the bottom line here, when you're thinking about all of this, you've just got to have a complete sense of positive optimism. And by the way, do me a huge favor if you're just watching us for the first time, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, because we're doing these videos every day. And the goal for me in the seven-figure climb is to show you all exactly everything you need to do to build to seven figures. And we're going to ultimately actually even do this in front of you. And the goal is for me to scale to seven figures right in front of you live. And so we're going to be releasing these videos daily. And so do me a huge favor again, is like and subscribe. And so, like I said, you have to develop this mindset of positive optimism. You got to be positively optimistic all the time. You have to know that things are going to go wrong. You have to know that things are going to break, and you have to be ready to fix those. And so it's really all about fixing problems, fixing leaks in the sandbox all the time. And we talked about last week, I did 2 add everyone posts in my group. I have a group with 17,600. One post got 200 reach, another post got 250 reach, no reach at all. That's not going to get me any buyers. And the bottom line for me is I have to either figure this group out, because I need to raise about 22,500, 20,000, 22,500, 7,500 on the backside, and 15,000 for ads. And in order to do that, I've either A, got to get this group to work somehow, get the message in front of these people, or B, I have to find another place to get the money. So now I'm focusing on both of those simultaneously. But if you looked at the last video, all of the things you need to do to scale, I've got all those in line. And I know exactly what I need to do, and I'm all focused on that. And so fear doesn't set in as much because I am really clear on what I need to do. And that's what I'm focused on. And so that's, like I said, that's what I was talking about in the last video. Fear sets in when you take your eyes off the goal. I've got my vehicle. I've got somewhat of an audience. I just got to figure out. I've got offers. I know what I'm going to be charging within reason. I know within reason, I know what I'm going to be selling. And so I'm kind of in a place where I know what this is all going to look like. And so what I want to do is I want to share some stories with you, because the bottom line is this: you're going to have to kill everything that's preventing you from moving forward. Whatever's, like, you got to kill what's stopping you. What is stopping you is a cancer, and you've got to get rid of it. So if you're scared to create a course, and you've wanted to create a course for 3 months or 6 months or a year, what you need to do is tomorrow you need to start creating a course. You need to create you got to come up with a title. You got to come up with 4 bullet points, 4 things you're going to talk about. Each of those things are going to be 15 minutes long. You need to get in front of a camera, do 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes. And then you need to edit it if you need to do that. And you need to put it in a folder, and you need to create that. Even if you're never going to sell it, even if you're never going to give it away, you have to move forward. And the only way to move forward is to kill what's stopping you. And this is the thing. The next thing you need to think about is sitting in this chair. How did I get in this chair? How am I doing this every day? You got, like, if you don't see yourself doing this, you need to sit down in this chair and you need to start going live every day. And if you can't do it, you got to quickly admit you can't do it. You got to find a partner who will do it. And you got to bring in a partner who will actually help you with this thing. You're not serving yourself if you're not confronting your fears, like, immediately. You got to stare your fears down. You got to get in front of them and just, draw a line in the sand. And that's what I do every single day. And you got to continue to do that. Now, and like I said, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to you're either going to you're either going to confront your fears and it's going to work, or you're going to confront your fears and you're going to admit you can't get by this. And you can either, if it's a tech thing, you can hire someone. But if it's something that you really need, like you have fear of being on camera or whatever, you need to hire a partner who doesn't have those fears, and you all need to team up. And I think yesterday or the day before we talked about two people can go 10 times further than one person, because what it is the fears that you have, they don't have, and the fears that they have, you don't have. And so nothing stops you all, because anytime you need to move forward, you're able to move forward, because one of those things is a strong suit from one of you. And so you're going to spend too much of your life in procrastination and fear until you stare things down. And so I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things. I don't know what we're going to do at the end here yet. Depends on how we're running on time. First thing we're going to talk about is my first pool room. And so, actually, let's talk about the listing. And I had mentioned this about 4 or 5 days ago. You need to make a list of everything that you've accomplished in your life, everything that it is. And it doesn't matter how small it is. You just really need to make those lists. So I went 15 years in school. I've got a degree in marketing. I've owned 2 different pool rooms. I've owned a hair salon with tanning beds. I've owned an advertising publication. I've done over 3,000 strategy sessions. I've worked with 300 people. I have created over 80 products and courses. And you've got to build that resume in your mind, because what it is every time you do that, every time you add to that, you basically gain that confidence that you can solve any problem that comes along. And I can tell you, everything that I've just listed, there's a million problems with it. There's a million things that happen. And you got to think about the movie The Quick and the Dead. You either have to act fast, or you're not going to make it. You're going to die. And that's my mindset on a lot of this stuff. And so you can be stuck for 3 years, or you can be stuck for 24 hours. You get to choose, and you got to confront your fears, and you've got to ask yourself, can I get through this myself? And if I can't, what is the workaround here? What is the workaround? Do I get a partner? Do I hire someone to do this? What can I do? And YouTube is your friend. You can study everything that you need to do that you can't do. You can study people that have done it. And so we're going to talk about the pool room for a few minutes, and we're just going to give you some insights here. And, I grew up as a pool player, played pool all my life, and I was wanting to buy a pool room for a very long time. Didn't happen. I ended up doing a lot of work in the collections industry. And then I happened to be playing pool every weekend at this place. And I heard the owner talking about selling a pool table. And I walked up to him and I said, "Why are you selling a pool table?" He said, "We are not making any money. I'm closing this place in April. That's when my lease is up. And I'm selling all of the equipment." And without skipping a beat, I said, "How much do you want for everything?" He said he wanted $10,000 for everything in the room. And it was a 16 table pool room. He had 16 tables, lights, balls. He had a concession area that had a cooler that had pop in it. He had some vending. He had some candy. He had some cues that he was selling. So he had some stuff there. Now, the second he told me he was selling it for $10,000, I knew that I was going to buy the place. The only thing I needed to do was, number one, come up with $9,900, because I had no freaking money. And number two, fear hit me really, really, really hard, because this is the thing. I've never ran a pool room. I've never ran a business. I worked in collections, and I'd hung out in pool rooms, but never ran one. But I was very, very fortunate, because the guy I was buying it off of, he wasn't making any money. He hadn't been making any money for months and months and months, maybe a few years. And so he had about 5 people who kind of ran the pool room for him. And that he didn't pay them. They might have got free table time or something, but he was basically, he knew he was going to close the place. He had already made a lot of money in other areas. He was very, very wealthy, and he was really just accepting it as a tax write-off. And so he wasn't spending that much time there. He was in there maybe 2 or 3 days a week for a few hours. And the rest of the time, he had all these people running it, and they were running it for free. Well, what I did is I went to one of those guys who was running it for free, and I said, Bernie's wanting to sell this place. Would you like to buy it with me? And he jumped at the chance because, he had never owned a room before. And he was running it for free for a long time. And this was his opportunity to actually get paid for running the place. And so I was very, very fortunate. I talked to him, the owner, originally in like October, and I talked to my future partner around the same time. And what happened is this all happened very fast. In December 1st, I gave this guy a $1,000 check, and it was a down payment on I think an $11,000 purchase. And I gave him 1,000, and he basically turned the room over to us on December 1st, but we were running the room for him. So we were running the room for 30 days for him, and then at the end of the 30-day period, he was going to come back, get a check from me, and then we would be done. And so, although I did a lot of work for free, this was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I got to run this room for a month, and I learned everything I needed to know about the pool room business before I was doing it on my own dime. Right now, even though I was working for free, we were doing it on his money. And so he came in on December 31st. I wrote him a check for $10,000. He stayed until 3 a.m, and we were pool room owners. And I can tell you that I financed this place mostly through family, friends, relatives, credit cards. I got the money from a lot of different places, right? I think I had some 401k money. I had a little bit of investment money. I had a limousine that I sold, and I think we got about 3 or 4,000 from there. And that's how I came up with the money. And the rest of it went on credit cards. And we needed about 14, I think either 14 or 15 grand. So we were giving him 11. We needed 2,000 for rent, which was January 1st. So now we're at 13. And we needed about 2,000 because we needed to make a lot of changes to the place. We needed working capital. We needed money to buy inventory, and we needed money to refelt all the tables. And so what ultimately happened is this worked out really, really, really well. So I'm going to take you through a few takeaways, though. I never would have been able to do this without a partner. I was scared to death to do it because I'd never done it. And honestly, I don't even know if he would have sold it to me without a partner. I think the reason he sold it to me is because the guy that was my partner had been working there for free for a long time. And I think that was the reason that's the reason he kind of went ahead and let us do it. And I'll be honest with you, he had no faith at all that we would succeed. But he probably had a little more faith that we would succeed because I had a partner, and that partner had been running it. Now, the problem was the partner wasn't really a business owner. He was a pool player, and he didn't really know how to run a business, and didn't know how to be a boss, and didn't know how to take control. And so I had to quickly get rid of the partner. And remember, you got to confront what's not working, and you got to get rid of it. And fortunately, I was scared to do this, make this move. I got a partner because that helped me to make the move. And then when I made the move and I got the partner, I found that I didn't need the partner anymore. And unfortunately, we had to part ways because he just wasn't entrepreneurial. He didn't understand business ownership and running a business and doing any of this stuff. He didn't understand any of it. And, he was a good friend of mine. And we went forward. And the other issue was he was supposed to come up with half the money, and he really never did that. So fortunately, I only had to give him about $3,000 back to kind of get this thing moved forward, get this thing done. and that's what I ultimately did. But that's essentially what it all looked like. And so what I'm going to do, I wanted to talk about the hair and the sunglasses and the costume a little bit, but I tried doing that a minute previously, and it really goes long, and so I'm going to leave that for another video. But my advice to you again: make a list of everything that you succeeded at. Make a list of everything that you haven't moved forward with, and then figure out and then start doing this stuff. And if you can't sit in the chair and do the videos, if that's stopping you, you need to sit in chair and do the videos, and you need to go live, and you need to do it 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row. And if you can't do it, you got to hire someone, you got to bring a friend in, you got to bring in a partner who can do those things. Because like I said, you're going to have to be visible. You're going to have to be vocal. And the thing is, maybe you're scared to sit in the chair. Maybe you're scared to sit in the chair and articulate, and you just got to practice at that stuff. But we're going to end out, and we will probably come back, and maybe tomorrow we will talk about costuming, or maybe we will go through other things. But I appreciate each and every one of you all for watching. We're getting back on track here on the days. Do me a huge favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification and watch the videos as they come out. But I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you all again tomorrow, and thanks a lot.